Good afternoon. My name is Russ Kane. I'm with the Galeton Fire Protection District, and I'm a member of the Unified Command Team. And I'll be acting as a spokesman for the team for the introduction. I hope that our daily updates posted to the Weld County website and other social media have been helpful. We're gathered here today as part of an ongoing commitment to regular and transparent communication with the community. First, I want to thank each of the members of the Unified Command staff: George Tappan from Chevron, Marcus Parham from Chevron, Roy Rudisil, my counterpart at the County of Weld County OEM. And I also wanted to thank those organizations that participated in the actual emergency, or the Unified Command, which is Weld County Office of Emergency Management, Chevron, and the Galeton Fire Protection District, and the Environmental Protection Agency, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Participating agencies that included as agency representatives from the Colorado Energy and Carbon Management Commission, Colorado Department of Health and Environment, Weld County Sheriff's Office, Colorado State Patrol, Colorado Fire Prevention and Control, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Colorado Department of Agriculture, Colorado Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, AMR Ambulance and Banner Ambulance, and the Weld County Sheriff. Chevron has also brought in a professional well control team, Weld, to support efforts at the wellhead. So public safety and safety of people remains our #1 priority. We are working quickly as possible while upholding the safety of the community and response personnel. Now I want to talk about the response efforts as they stand today. As of 3:30 this afternoon, there is no more emissions from the well. We have begun the control process, which will take place over the next 24 hours with a pause at night because of lighting issues. And we'll continue through the next 24 hours. We'll continue to air monitor. We're going to continue to sample, and we'll continue our environmental protection measures, again, as long as we need to. And we have started to talk about recovery and reoccupation of the evacuation zone, although we're not ready to do that immediately. Our focus to date has been on controlling the well, and we understand that the community has questions about environmental impacts. During our period of air quality, our air quality monitoring, which continues, we've detected no readings above action levels, and any readings that we do have should ultimately go down with no more emissions from the well. Water samples have been collected and they're awaiting analysis and currently going through analysis at external labs. The half-mile exclusion zone remains in place until we can plan a organized re-entry to make sure that those facilities are safe, those homes are safe, and we're going to start with the Galeton Elementary School. So our school closures, we're going to keep the schools closed through tomorrow. We've coordinated with the Eaton Board of Education to do so, and still check in with those media outlets and those contact points to determine when we're going to resume school. But our goal is for Monday, and again, we have to do measurements at the school, which was largely unaffected during the event, and we suspect it'll continue that. In just a moment, community members will be joining us for a meeting where we will have a number of experts available to help answer any questions they have about the incident and what actions they should be taking to stay safe. So thank you again for coming today, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Sir.
Do you have any idea of what volume of gas is escaping now?
Refer to currently, the well is no longer emitting. Okay, zero. Okay.
How long did it before it got capped? How long was it emitting?
It started at about 6 o'clock Sunday afternoon until about 3:30 this afternoon.
3:30 this afternoon.
Yes.
Could you elaborate for us? I mean, there was a lot of discussion about how there is no health concern when it comes to the air quality throughout the entire time, yet at the same time there was an evacuation zone, there was no schools. no school days. So can you explain to us if there was no concern, why there was a concern about people being around?
Well, the well was in a dynamic condition where it could degrade. And so out of an abundance of precaution, we enacted the emergency response plan that was developed at the time of permitting at the county level. And each one of our pads has that emergency response plan with action zones that go around, including that half mile. So before we could get monitors in place, that's our default, and then we monitor throughout based on weather, winds, and the condition of the well.
And then we continue to see the updates that were saying that the monitoring was taking place and that it was at a sufficient level to not be of health concern to individuals. Can you tell us what level it was at, how close it would have gotten potentially to being of concern?
It didn't trigger our action levels, and looking for Pete from the health department to give us some help with the interpretation.
Good morning, or sorry, it's morning for me.
Peter Graham, Weld County Health and Environment.
So there's set action levels according to the EPA and also from Chevron and from the state. From what we saw, none of the levels hit to a point where we felt there was danger to the public. To answer your question, sir, it was preventative to make the exclusion zone, and that was also safety because of ignition sources. So we wanted to make sure that those people were taken care of. Our concern at Weld County Public Health Department is the public. So we did that as a precaution, and now that the well has been killed, we should be able to monitor the situation and hopefully soon move back into the exclusion area. Does that answer your question, sir?
Similar question as well. I know that animals were a concern. I know that one of the press releases we got, they were telling you to monitor animals, maybe see the vet. If those levels were not at a hazardous level, similar question, why were animals of a concern?
Well, the same thing. So not only are we concerned about the public and the citizens of Weld County, we're also worried about the cattle, livestock, and family pets. So in order to take care of the whole community, we advise that, to make sure that your animals are limited to exposure, but we did not see anything that would raise alarm to say you need to leave this area as far as outside the exclusion area.
We
Yes,
were
ma'am.
talking about the elementary school being possibly opened on Monday. Do we expect that evacuation zone for people to get back into their homes around a similar time period? What can you tell us as far as people waiting to get back home?
The elementary school was outside the evacuation zone and was evacuated out of abundance of caution, and so the people inside and the residents inside will take a little longer.
What do you guys need to see to then feel comfortable to bring these residents back to their homes?
Well, what I'd like to do is to see a continuance of the levels of VOCs, which is volatile organic compounds that are most associated with hydrocarbons, to remain low, and we don't see any kind of an upswing. I don't expect to see that now that the well has been killed, but as a precaution, we're going to go for another 24 hours, right, Chief? I'm sorry. We'll go until we feel secure that we can move people back into the exclusion zone. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us exactly what volatile compounds were being released? What VOCs were actually released?
So we sent that for testing. We have air testing, and when we break for the public community, we're going to have SME experts at each table, and if you can ask them that question, they'll be able to get you those answers.
Can we go back to the beginning? You guys said this was an incident. Somebody was hurt. What
Yes.
was the incident? What caused them to be hurt? What started all of this?
So it started as a well control event. We have been focused solely on protecting the people and getting this well secure. So our investigation team will get started on this as soon as we can move in and start that.
So, and forgive me if you can't answer this, but what does that mean? I mean, there's a well containment issue. What starts that? What causes that?
it would be speculation. It could, you could have a failure of a piece of equipment or something else, but we don't know that today.
I'm sure this is part of the investigation too, but what are you guys doing now to make sure that this doesn't happen again, that you don't have a this happen again to where, these emissions are coming?
Yeah, great question. We are 100% committed to operational excellence and continuing learning, so we will take this investigation and we will apply that to any future job.
And I heard that 12 residents were evacuated. Is that number accurate, and how are they being assisted exactly?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, 12 residences were contacted and moved to hotels. Chevron has secured those hotels and food at those hotels, so that's how we've been assisted. Also been in daily contact with them to make sure if there's any other needs for them.
What would have happened if they stayed in their homes? I mean, or if the school had stayed in session? I mean, if everything is staying kind of low and those levels are good, then why did people have to leave, and why is school out for a week?
Because again, while we didn't have well control, that well could change at any minute, and those evacuation zones could be then validated at that point with emissions into that. So the well could have turned a different way. We were fortunate with weather and the well that we never received any of those readings above action levels. But we have to get those people out of, again, abundance of caution.
So thinking, if I could just follow up real
Sure.
quick, thinking that while the levels were, okay and good
Right.
and steady, you never know if they spike or if something changes at
Right.
any time, and let's just get people out of here so we can deal with it.
Right, and we realize the impact of people and animals moving, moving people out of their homes is not an easy decision. But we don't want to have people injured, get sick, that type of decision where we could have gotten them out. So.
And they could become physically ill with, I don't know, fumes. Help me out.
Well, they're certainly our main consideration when we pulled in is the physical hazards of flammability of an oil and gas well, right? The emissions there, and
in terms of exploding.
igniting, I would say it's probably a better description. And then of course when you get to those levels, you also have certain levels of toxicity that you deal with from the VOCs, and other elements that are in the well. So.
What type of work was done to end the emissions? I mean, was this around the clock work that was done to try to end this, or what type of work have crews been doing?
Yeah, so we stood up Unified Command, and we have built in our action plans every day. The work at night would ramp down. We would try not to do work in the dark. We would just have site security and air monitoring through the night, and then pick up our plans the next day.
I mean, what went into that work? We're not seeing a lot. We haven't seen spewing since this afternoon.
So we brought in well control experts called Weld, and they assist us with those plans every day of how we get that under control.
Did anyone refuse to evacuate?
Yeah, we had, I believe, 3 residents that refused to evacuate, and one additional that repopulated and then re-evacuated.
And are you checking on them regularly?
Yes. We have air monitoring teams in the area that continually go by, as well as security teams. So.
Are they in local hotels, or do they stay with family? How does that work? I'm sorry if I missed that.
Yeah, there was an offering of hotels, and to my understanding, the vast majority of those families chose hotels.
Can you talk about, you guys were addressing testing the air, but were you testing the water? A lot of people use wells in this area.
Yeah.
I can.
Okay, good. Thank you, Pete.
So yes, the water was being tested. Also, just as your information, Weld County Public Health Department has a free program for unincorporated county citizens to have their wells tested specifically for hydrocarbons and VOCs. So anybody in this area that feels like their well may have been affected can come and have that test done for free.
Are you guys doing that kind of at the elementary school?
Yeah.
Would you guys call this a leak? Or what would you? I know you called it a release, but for people that don't know oil and gas and they don't understand this kind of stuff, and they just hear that oil and gas is being released. Like, would you call it a leak, or what would you? I
Yeah, the way I characterize it, uncontrolled release from the well.
And
So-
you said that containment procedures began today. Is that right?
Well, actually, can I? Can I come? Well, containment procedures involved a lot of preparation throughout the week to eliminate ignition sources, get equipment out of the way, move flammables, other flammables and support off the site, and it involved, a great deal of tractor trailer size equipment that had to be pulled out very carefully as not to cause ignition concerns and things like that. So there was a tremendous amount of preparation for what is really a couple hours of the beginning. So when they got well control relative to the large event, it was largely prep, and then they get the well control. But there's a lot of preparation for it.
What company did you say did the actual control on the well?
Okay, Wild Well Control.
Wild well control, where are they from?
I believe they're out of Houston, Texas.
They also have a staging area in Greeley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that in wastewater injection site 74 west of that had any contribution to this?
I can't speak to that. Yeah.
No, sir, at this time, we do not think so.
Well, I'd like to conclude the questions at this time. So I want to thank everybody for coming, and I would ask you to join the subject matter experts at each one of the tables to get further questions fulfilled. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.